Now, my last guest today is none other than the Prime Minister of Lithuania, Ingrida Šimonytė. We sat down to talk nature-first policies, green growth, and what the country expects from its companies, cities, and the financial sector. Thank you so much, Prime Minister Šimonytė, for speaking to us here and for joining us on Euronews for Now for Nature. So my question is, are you confident that the European Union will be able to achieve this net nature positivity by 2030?
I'm quite positive, although, of course, there are wins that we need to be aware of. Because we should be very careful and not let the, daily problems undermine or hamper the ideas of green transition. Because, well, you can see this happening even now as we see the soaring prices of energy in most of the countries. And this should be a signal that we actually need to change, because our reliance on fossil fuels that sometimes are, not traded on the real markets is such a big vulnerability for all of us that we actually also must understand this green transition as a part of our national security agenda. So yes, there are circumstances that might be hampering on our ambition, but I think that the debate that we now are having on Fit for 55 package brings me at least reasonable confidence in that European Union will do what is European Union's part. But of course, it's not just European Union that need to be part of this. It is a global challenge, as we said, and for this global challenge, we need all other parties to be on board as well.
OK, well, talk us through what the Lithuanian government is doing exactly to scale up innovation and green solutions to drive exactly what you described, a net zero, nature-positive economy.
Well, last year we have adopted a climate change agenda for the country that is aligned to the global goals and EU targets. And this is an agenda that is up to 2050, which is the date to achieve the climate neutrality. But also we have local agendas that are important in a different aspects of this big picture, and that starts from, for example, renovation of buildings or mobility plans, up to 100% of green procurement that we want to achieve by 2023, which is next year, because we think that all those parts of the different policies should adhere to the major goals, and this is the climate neutrality by 2050. And of course, what is important in this respect is that being an ambitious country with a very high ambition in a broad sense for higher value added and innovations, we want to focus in the areas where innovation is even more important than in general, and that comprises the life sciences, but also the eco innovations that are so important in achieving the 2050 goals for the whole planet.
And on biodiversity, of course, all eyes now are on the next COP15 taking place in Coming. What do you think the outcome should be, and how does Lithuania's policy on biodiversity and nature link into this global agenda?
Well, I think this is, as I mentioned, this is a part of the big picture. So we are not only looking at ourselves, what we can do as a country, as a segment, as a part of the planet, but we also need to be a part of this big movement, this global movement, and have a say in this. So basically, I think that it is very important to stick to agreements. It's very important to understand that this is a global challenge and nobody can sort that out alone. So my expectations would be that we should set us the targets that are ambitious and realistic, and then we should all put our heart into achieving the goals.
Turn the words into deeds. It's always the tricky challenge, right? And on that note, when it comes to pushing, what do you precisely expect from Lithuanian companies, from the financial sector and from local government on climate and nature in terms of action and also in terms, of course, of transparency?
Well, I think it's not the government alone that can actually achieve the change, especially when we speak of the change of such a big magnitude. So definitely every part of society has its part to take in this process. Companies, they have to invest. They have to change their production habits, their supply chains, their production outcome towards more environment-friendly solutions. And here, government can give a hand, especially for SMEs, to make this adjustment easier, but also big companies in many cases need quite substantial investments. And here we see the play of the financial sector that has to participate in the role of facilitator in financial market to encourage these investments and to support, to provide financial means for companies on competitive market to invest in this area. And I think financial markets, financial institutions also understand that this green agenda is here to stay, and therefore there is a business case in this. And of course there is a part that need to be played by non-governmental organizations or local communities, as well as broader society, people. On one hand, raising awareness and sometimes maybe initiating incentives or actions that are behind the market solutions, so to say. And also people need to be aware of the fact that this is the only planet we have, so we need to each of us need to put his or her own effort into this, and then we can achieve the results. So there is a role for everybody in this.